Hi everyone, Tim the Plane Man here. I'm out at the cricket pitch and look at that. They've resurfaced the runway for me. Now that's probably going to mean sometime soon I'm going to have some competition for this beautiful flying field that I've been using. But for now, and maybe for the last time, let's see, I'm going to use it to test flight the Fokker E Maiden. This was actually the first plane that I built from Dancing Wings Hobby, just because of some issues with the electronics arriving on time. It ended up that the Sopwith Pup, which I started first, was the one I finished first, and Maiden flew first. Good news is I learned a lot of things, and one of the things that I've done here, if you can see that, is I've added carbon fiber reinforcement to the undercarriage, which the undercarriage, especially when it lands on the nice soft grass, saves the plane from crashing, but had a tendency to break off. So that was a good lesson, and that's one thing that I've done. I've also put rates onto the a 50% weighting actually on the elevator, especially with this, the Maiden, which has the whole control surface, the whole horizontal stabilizer is elevated. There is no unmoving part. I'll just show you that. I think, let's just see if you can see that. So the whole thing moves. There is no stable piece. So that to me means that it's quite likely this plane to be quite twitchy when it flies. So I've cut the rate to 50%. The rudder was actually fine. The lesson that I learned about the rudder on the Sopwith Pup, I had actually put it on the right pin, which I guess was from the instructions, and
maximum trim reached.
We'll see how that goes. I'm just noticing that the rudder seems a little to the right. I'm going to trim that before I fly it a little bit. And okay, I'm going to put the phone away and put the GoPro on. Let's see how she flies.
Throttle cut. Throttle active.
Oh no, doesn't seem to have enough power to fly. That's very interesting. Just couldn't get off the ground. Now that could be the battery. One of the things that I did do with this plane was I put in a 150 milliamp battery, which should be fine according to the specs. 150 to 200 milliamps was the spec. But for some reason, it's a little underpowered. So just didn't have enough power to get off the ground. I'm going to do full throttle and see if that gives us enough. Otherwise, what I probably need to do is switch out the 200 milliamp battery that I have in the Sopwith, which is in the car ready to fly. But just doesn't have enough juice. That's not going to fly. All right, back to the drawing board. All right, so we've got a 200 milliamp battery now in the plane, and as you can see, and I didn't show you that before, there's also a lot of weight in the front, which it took all that weight to get the center of gravity forward to where it's shown in the instructions it needs to be. And without having flown it already, it's hard to tell if how that's going to work. So this is a test flight. Let's test it, see what it needs to, see if it'll fly. So we've got extra power. I guess that's about 25% more. Let's see what happens, and hopefully you can see that. I'll just pay tribute to Justin, the pilot, and the gun sitting in the plane, laser printed by Justin.
Throttle active.
Oh well, she flies. Whoa, not so. I guess I learned some lessons from the Sopwith pup. That is a little... Actually, the rudder is really twitchy. I think I need to put some rates on the rudder. That's weird what the plane is bouncing around up and down. What is it doing? Come on, turn around. It's very strange what it's doing there. Well, I'm going to go around again. Must be careful. And actually, the rudder really is quite twitchy, so I definitely need some rate on the rudder. Also, it's out of trim for sure, so it wants to keep going left. If I let go of the controls, it goes left and it goes up actually. Whoa, okay. Well, that wasn't bad. That elevator's very strange. It just keeps flipping up and down, and as I'm not quite close enough to see, but it looks like it's jerking up and down as I'm flying. Luckily we have, well, I would say that weight was all necessary. It's a little tricky now without my, so the prop saver came off. This uses these little rubber O-rings, which are really awkward to get on, and I usually use a pair of tweezers. The rudder is definitely too far to the right, so I'm going to trim that a little bit. I think I know what's going on there. See, what I've done with the shrink wrap tubing that holds the control onto the elevator, onto the control horn, is I shrank it, but I didn't glue it because I wanted to be able to adjust it, but it's a little bit loose, so it seems to be coming loose. The other thing that's weird is that elevator, so let me just see if I can...
Throttle cut.
Okay. I don't know if you saw that. That was just bouncing up and down as it was going along. Oh, I can see it. It's loose. And that just went straight into the dirt. So I've broken off a piece of the fuselage after such a nice flight. That is really quite frustrating. I've broken off a piece of the wing, just a chip off the
Trainer on. Trainer off.
Just a chip off the leading edge of that wing there, and this little piece here, which is a little piece of fuselage that I had to cut open at one point to get inside, and that was where I had kept most of the weight that I was using to keep the weight up. So I think the weight depends on the throttle. Maybe I didn't have enough throttle when I was launching just now. I think that may be it. And I'm gonna say I think that wingtip is gone for good. I honestly can't see it.
Throttle cut.
And this plane is not flying anymore today. So, well, that's the Fokker E Maiden Flight. Sort of successful, learned a couple things. I'll make some adjustments for next time.